This one is pretty interesting. We're going to do our best to answer. Remember, I'm not an attorney. None of us are attorneys, and this is not legal advice, but we're going to do our best to tell you what we think we know. This is from SteffiVision on YouTube. She writes, hypothetically, I like that. Start the question out that way. That better safe than sorry. Hypothetically, I moved to California from Arizona in 2002. Hypothetically, I left my guns in Arizona with a family member. I did not register them because I thought at the time that as long as I didn't bring them into the state, that I didn't need to register them. Anyway, I would now like to register them and bring them to California. So her two questions are, did I break the law by not registering them, even though I did not bring them into the state? And will I get into trouble with the law if I try to register them now after living in California for the last 23 years? Oh, and one more, how do I find out if the guns that I have in Arizona are legal or not in California? So that is a lot. We got a lot going on in those questions, and we're going to break them down as best as we can. So first, I am not aware of any law that you broke by leaving your firearms in Arizona and moving to California without registering with California. When you register your firearms, when you move into California, you have 60 days to register your firearms. Even if you take longer than 60 days, they still won't prosecute you if the only way they find out that you didn't register your firearms is that you registered them late. But once you move to California, you are violating the law if you don't register your firearms with California.
Once you move to California and bring your firearms into the state, then your clock starts ticking for that 60 days.
Correct. So if you move to California, you leave your guns in Arizona, there's no need to register your guns. That's the first part of the question. At least I'm not aware of any laws or whatever. Again, I'm not an attorney, it's not legal advice, but there's no law I've ever been aware of that requires you to register your guns in Arizona while you live in California. That's not something that exists. Yeah. So the second part of that is, hey, now you want to bring your guns into California. Is it okay? And the short answer is, yeah, you can generally bring your guns into California. And as soon as you bring them into California, you have 60 days to register them, which, again, even if you take longer than 60 days, they won't prosecute you if the only way they find out that they're not registered is because you're trying to register them. But you want to register them pretty quick, so you can. So in general, yes, you can bring your firearms into California and you can register them. You should be good to go. However, and you hit on this in the rest of your question there, SteffiVision, how can you tell if the guns that you have in Arizona are California legal or not? That's too much to answer in one question. There's not like one big answer I can give you. You have to do a lot of research. As far as pistols, it's a lot easier than rifles and shotguns because rifles and shotguns generally are going to be more susceptible to violating the assault weapons ban. You have to comply with the magazine ban. You have to comply with the assault weapons ban, the magazine ban, but they don't have to be on the roster. A lot of people get that confused. The roster only limits FFLs. It doesn't limit, you from owning. So it's tough for me to answer that third question on how exactly can you tell. The safest and best answer is to get all the information on your firearms, the make, model, caliber, even pictures, the configuration of it, and hire an attorney like John Dillon and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Is this California legal? You can do your own research, but you risk not thoroughly seeing every single law that's out there. You could possibly talk to somebody at a gun shop, not always the best idea. I think the safest thing to do would be to hire an attorney who's familiar with Second Amendment, familiar with gun laws in California. What do you guys think? Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it really well. I think, and you hit this already, just the one big thing that a lot of people get really mixed up on. I've heard of people like selling guns or getting rid of things that were beautiful heirlooms because they thought, well, it's not rostered, I can't bring it. And that's absolutely not true. So I just want to really just kind of reiterate that because that's a big one. And as far as long guns go, rifles, shotguns, I mean, there's a couple different elements. One is going to be barrel length. We've got some rules on that in California. Configurations on ARs, as you mentioned, right? The assault weapons ban. So, like I said, a lot to take into consideration. And there's not a hard, fast answer to that. There's a lot of it depends, right?
Yeah, I think one kind of trick you can use to try to start the process of figuring it out is find out if those same firearms are sold in California. Because like if you look up whatever kind of AR-15 you have and you find out that the local, FFL near you sells it, then that's a clue that, okay, probably it's compliant. You'll have to check the specs on both and make sure they match. But
That's a good tip.
That's kind of one way to start that process if you have no idea where to start.
Yeah, but sometimes they do have a California compliant variation,
Right.
so you can have a model that's not California compliant too.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah, you just have to check those specs really carefully, make sure they match identical,
But the one thing I'll say, and then we'll wrap it up, is don't think good enough is good enough. You want a real answer to this question.
Yeah.
Too many people don't take these laws seriously. We all want to rebel. We all want to not comply and say from my cold dead hands. But I get phone calls and emails from people all the time who didn't comply with firearms laws in California and are now spending their savings account on an attorney that they hopefully will get them out of trouble. And some of them have been turned into prohibited people and felons. I mean, it stinks, and we're doing everything we can to get the right people elected and file the lawsuits so that we can undo these laws. But I've seen some real tough guys cry because they're about to become a felon because they didn't feel like they wanted to or had to comply with these unconstitutional gun laws. So that's I wanted to put that out there. You want to make sure you want to take these firearms laws seriously. We hate them, which is why we dedicate so much time to fighting them. But I'm telling you, you're going to hate being in, a felon with no savings account even more. It's really going to hurt. So let me just put that out there.
Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media, and check out our website at gunownersradio.com.